and welcome. My name is Kate Merrind. I'm a program manager at the DC Department of Small and Local Business Development. So excited to have everyone here today. We're going to do a brief information session with Carmen Fells from Global Incite regarding the services that her CBE will be providing as part of the pilot year for the CBE Green Equitable Back Office Services Grants. And so I'm going to give a little bit of introduction and then I'm going to turn things over to Carmen. So CBE Green is an initiative of the department. It is funded by the Department of Energy and the Environment, and it is specifically related to supporting certified business enterprises here in the district into contract opportunities with the DC Sustainable Energy Utility. We'll drop in the chat, and we've already distributed to all eligible CBEs information about how to apply and what this is. We had an information session that we did earlier this week on the overall piece, but in brief. The DC Sustainable Energy Utility has several open RFPs or scopes of work that are open on a rolling basis. And these are part of the district's overall efforts for climate friendliness and for energy efficiency. The District of Columbia is a leader in energy efficiency. In 2018, they passed the Climate Omnibus Act. And as part of that, there's a very large effort to ensure that all buildings in the District of Columbia are as energy efficient as possible. Buildings are some of the largest producers of greenhouse gas in the district. And so, I'm sorry, it's not greenhouse gas. It is carbon in the District of Columbia. And so what's happening right now is there's a lot of effort to benchmark where buildings' energy performance is and then to require upgrades. And what this really means is a very large amount of possible funding for businesses that get involved in this work, not just now and not just here, but as we move into the future. Earlier this year, the DC Procurement Technical Assistance Center, which is also housed at DSLBD, held a rally with the DCSEU in order for people to learn more about these scopes of work. And CBE Green is offering 3 different services to CBEs who are interested in these projects to help them better be able to achieve and perform. Briefly, those 3 projects are the project that Carmen is going to tell you more about from Global Incite, which is on proposal development and management and support. We also have 2 other services, one specifically with CFO Services Group, looking at accounting and back office support on the finance side. And we will also have back office services from energy and transport on the legal side, looking at what might be in an exact contract and looking at everything that a company needs to make sure that it does so that it is able to both perform on that contract, but also stay in compliance for that. I'm going to turn things over now to Carmen Fells and let you take it away.
All right, thanks, Kate. So I'll just go ahead and jump right into it. Good afternoon. My name is Carmen Fells, and I am the president of Global Incite. We're a professional services firm, and we also provide proposal management services. We are excited about this program and about having the opportunity to work with each of you. And feel free to ask any questions while I'm speaking. And also, I've included some questions within the chat box. I think Kate will be reposting them because if you came on after I posted them, you might not be able to see them. So I've included questions that'll help us kind of gauge the experience level of those interested in the program. And Kate, also feel free to stop me if I overlook any chat box responses that I need to stop and address. All right, so I'll start with what we're doing, what we're offering, and what we'll be doing throughout the program. So after onboarding, we'll determine who you are and your company's maturity level, where you are in the process of bidding on green contracts, and also where you have room for improvement by conducting an assessment that will help determine the extent of your capabilities and your performance indicators. This will help us best deliver the information and better tailor that information to your specific needs. Next, we'll conduct a general training session on both a Wednesday and a Saturday based on when we get our final list of companies. And I think Kate and DSLBD is currently working on that list along with PTAC. During the training, we'll discuss proposal management and the proposal development process. We'll then take a deep dive into DCSEU's requirements and the process for bidding. We'll discuss how to become qualified to respond to DCSEU's RFPs or requests for proposals. And many of those requests that are out right now, they require that you first respond to RFQs, which are requests for qualifications, in order to become a qualified service provider. So we want to ensure that you're able to meet those requirements and are also aware of the trainings available to you to help become a service provider. We also want to make sure that you understand what's being asked of you and that those things are within your reach. So we've identified some of the more difficult qualification factors to meet, and we'll focus on those. So finally, we'll go over the evaluation criteria. And for those opportunities that require RFQ responses, if your bid is successful, you will then either be awarded an IQC, which is an indefinite quantity contract, or a subcontract. And we'll go over each of these during our general session as well. So I'll just stop right here and make sure there are no questions. Okay.
I haven't seen any questions come in the chat, but if there's anyone who wants to come off mute and ask a question, please feel free to do so. And I'm going to send a request to unmute to our call-in user. I'm not sure when our call-in user joins, so just to confirm for our call-in user, this is the CBE Green information session with Global Incite. And you've been sent a request to unmute if you have any questions.
Okay, thank you, Kate. So going back to the overall process, we're also going to conduct one-on-one sessions, and these sessions are very important. They'll be with each individual company that submits an assessment. And the one-on-one sessions will be tailored to your specific needs. They'll help you develop a strategy or a tailored approach for going after these green contracts. You'll also have access to an online platform where you'll find program materials and reference materials. Okay, so what opportunities are available? Let's go to DCSEU's website for their contract opportunities, and I'm going to try to share my screen here. System preferences. Okay, you might be able to share faster than me because it's taking me through system preferences and everything. I just want to go to where the contract opportunities are on DCSEU's website.
Let me start sharing my screen.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what we're seeing here is the main DCSEU website. And if you click on these three bars at the top, you're going to see something that says for contractors. If you click on that, you're going to see both current solicitations and trainings and certifications. We're going to look at current solicitations.
Right.
And under current solicitations, I'll scroll down just a little bit so everyone can see it. There are a few different things, but I think what you want to look at right here are these multiple scopes of work.
Yes. So under this first RFP, and as you saw when Kate just scrolled down, there are 3 RFPs currently, the main RFPs, but actually there are 9 because under this first one, there are 7 different attachments, and each of those attachments includes a statement of work. So there are different scopes within each of these attachments. So there are currently 9, and we're anticipating 1 more attachment before the end of the fiscal year. So, and it will probably go live before and be due by September 30th. But for right now, we have A through G. And all of these occur on a rolling basis, which means that there will be continuous evaluation periods. So we have, of course, the commercial and institutional, income qualified, home energy kits, energy auditing and analysis, QA/QC, HVAC, affordable housing retrofit. And we'll go through each of them and we'll talk about the current budgets as it relates to each, and we'll gauge the interest of the CBEs that participate in our program so that we'll know which ones we should kind of home in on. Okay, so we think that most CBEs will be responding to these, but again, there are 2 others. So we could scroll down a little bit. The first one is to provide training for the Train Green program. And the third one is for lighting distributors to provide discounted products. Okay, so throughout the process, I don't see any questions about that, so I'll keep going. Throughout the process, we'll find out what barriers to entry that you all have identified, and feel free to add any of those barriers that you're currently aware of to the chat box. We have a question there about that. We'll be focusing on the areas also that the utility has identified as obstacles so that we can build a bridge that will help you guys best compete for these green contracts. So how do you get the most out of the program? You get the most out of the program by reviewing DCSEU's contract opportunities here ahead of time and knowing which you're most interested in, completing your assessment and answering questions as thoroughly as possible and to the best of your ability, preparing for your one-on-ones, and sending over any specific areas of concern that you would like to focus on most prior to the meeting. And finally, by participating in the group sessions and engaging, because we know that we get the most out of any learning environment when all participants are actively engaged. So again, we're excited about this effort and the opportunity to help you best position your company to win. We're also inspired by the fact that DSLBD, DOEE, and DCSEU are putting forth these efforts to ensure that small resident-owned and disadvantaged CBEs not only have these opportunities, but that they have the tools to be successful here in DC. And if you're successful here in DC, it's a precursor for being competitive across the country, because of course, this is a multi-billion-dollar industry nationwide. So there's plenty of space to compete and plenty of opportunities to win. And that's all I have. We hope that you get the most out of this program, whether you participate in our track or one of the other two. And we're honored to be a part of the process. And again, we look forward to working with you all.
Okay, we have two questions that have come in. One came in overall and one came in a direct message, so I'll ask that one in an anonymized way.
Sure.
But the one that came in for everyone to see, could you go over the time frame for this program just a little bit slower?
Okay, sure. So we are waiting to receive the information on the CBEs that are interested. And once we receive that information, we'll determine when we'll have our two group sessions. That'll be on a Wednesday and a Saturday, hopefully within the next couple of weeks. And then after those group sessions, we'll be working with you all on a one-on-one basis. So you'll be filling out your assessments throughout the process. And then once we meet with you, we'll be able to go over the results of that assessment and help you all with a plan forward.
Wonderful. Carmen, I have a question, and I don't know if you will be able to answer this, and it may be something I have to take back to the Procurement Technical Assistance Center. But there's someone who is representing an HR consulting firm, and they're wondering if there are opportunities within these scopes of work that would make sense for that type of company. I do know that when PTAC did an assessment in May, there were a lot more potential opportunities than might have been immediately obvious, but I don't know if that's a question that you're able to address right now.
We haven't identified any as of yet, but what I can do is get your information and then get back to you directly, or Kate can do the same.
I'm gonna drop the email address for my division in the chat so that you can reach out on that and we can look to do an assessment of that.
How long is the support, Shanna? I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Through September 30th.
I'm going to stop sharing my screen. For some reason, my chat is not working very well, so it's not going in. But the email address, oh, there it went, is sorry, let me say that again slower, inno.ed@dc.gov. That's the same email address that you would see on anything related to CBE Green.
Any more questions?
Yeah. If you have questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat or come off of mute. And once again, I'll send something to our call-in user.
And I think that this is going to be recorded, so I do apologize if I was speaking too fast, and I'll definitely go back over anything.
And I'm going to drop in the chat one more time, just the information for the general information session, which was mostly about how to express interest, as well as the expression of interest form. So these services, once again, are available to CBEs that meet specific sub-designations. So one of 3 sub-designations are required if you are a CBE that is small, resident-owned, or disadvantaged. If you are pursuing or interested in pursuing contract opportunities with the DCSEU, and if you are or you become a DC Procurement Technical Assistance Center client, which is free, they're here at DSLBD, then you can be eligible for these services.
And you guys, please take advantage. Like, these services it's going to be a wealth of information. And I feel like I said, DSLBD, DOE, and DCSEU really genuinely wants more CBEs to participate in these programs. And so that's what we're here for. Looking forward to working with you, and we'll help in any way that we can.
Wonderful. There's one more session or question that just came in. There's someone who's interested in the legal part. So just to answer on the legal, that's going to be a little bit more one-on-one versus a class. And so we'll be referring people to that throughout. One of the things that we're undergoing assessment on right now, we have 102 total spots. We do not know how realistic it is for someone to take advantage of multiple offerings at the same time. That's something we can continue to assess based on the level of interest that we receive. We are hopeful, we do not know, we're hopeful that we'd be able to run a similar grant next year if that is funded. And if so, we don't know what those services would be that would come through, but we would learn a lot from this for thinking about how we might be able to offer additional services in the future. Will there be a project program management opportunities in the scope of work? Is that something that you're able to speak to right now, Carmen?
Program project management, we will be discussing that as it relates to proposal development. And if there are any specific questions, then we can work with you on a one-on-one basis with project and program management. But what we have gauged is that it's really going to depend on the maturity level of the companies and your interest. So that's why it's important to fill everything out on the intake form and also the assessment so that we can determine what your needs are. And then we're going to tailor our approach to that. We have our general approach, but if we have more companies that want to do one thing versus another, we're gonna tailor what we offer to those needs.
Wonderful. And then a question came in about when folks will be notified if they're selected for one of the 3 programs. We are actively working with the DC Procurement Technical Assistance Center on those that we've already received. We know that some of these will be starting for the 2 that have courses. Those will be starting sooner. We'll probably be letting people in on a rolling basis. We hope to be able to go out to people as early as next week, but it may be a rolling basis as we do that. Are there any more questions? Well, I just want to say a really big thank you to Carmen. Thank you to everyone who is on the line. DSLBD is incredibly excited about this, and we know the power and the strength and the expertise of the CBE community. And so we are so excited to be able to offer this. And, this is CBEs supporting CBEs, and we are looking forward to what that will mean for contract opportunities in the future.
Yes, thank you, Kate. Thank you all for joining. Looking forward to working with you.
And I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording.